Severe storms hit parts of our region yesterday. Today, we're getting a look at the damage as folks start cleaning up after flooding. Plus, it's the last 2 days of the legislative session. We'll let you know what actions Kentucky lawmakers push through today.
Plus, sunny weather is back for most of the weekend. Your forecast on the way as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Some folks in Pike County are cleaning up after storms swept through that area and others yesterday. WYMT's RJ Johnson got a look at the damage today.
I'm here in the Phelps community of Pike County, where some of that rain yesterday led to high water and some of it spilling over into some of the roads. Pike County EMS Director Nee Jackson says in some parts there were water over the roadways, making travel difficult, ultimately leading to Pike County schools operating on an NTI day. He says a lot of rain hit the eastern part of the county in a short amount of time.
Storms were training coming out of Virginia and Tennessee, and all the storms were taking that same travel path. So there was a lot of moisture in that system, and there were some pretty powerful storms.
Jackson says it's always important to have a plan in place just in case an emergency does come. In Pike County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Fortunately, haven't heard any reports of injuries. Jackson says they received several reports of people driving through high water, though, which he says you should not do.
Well, the weather is soggy and breezy on this Friday, but the sunshine is not far away. Let's take a live look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. And you can see we are not tracking any storms on this Friday, but we are tracking some more hit or miss rain showers for this afternoon. Also pushing into this evening, a few heavier downpours in Knox County, some light showers for Bell County, moving into parts of southern Leslie, also Harlan counties, and a few more heavier downpours close to Pennington Gap over in Lee County, Virginia at this hour. Some more showers in Letcher County, pushing into Wise and Dickinson and Buchanan counties over in Virginia, and same story for our friends in Floyd, also in Pike County at this hour. Those winds also another big story on this Friday, gusting to 20, possibly 30 miles per hour in some areas, and we stay breezy for this evening as well. A live look across the region, we are overcast for most of us and a little bit soggy in some areas as well, but again, the sunshine and the warmer weather is not far away. For now though, we are below average. Those highs should be in the upper 60s, most of us in the upper 40s to lower 50s, up to 47 for Jackson and 52 over in Somerset and Monticello at this hour. But notice we see some above average weather as early as Sunday. More details on that weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thanks. A concert celebrating flood recovery and other organizations in the region will be held in Knott County this weekend. Multiple organizations partnered together to put this concert on, featuring country music legend Clint Black. The concert will be Saturday night at the Morton Combs Athletic Center in Knott County. Organizer Dustin Combs says there are multiple ways to buy tickets.
Tickets are available now. The show starts at 7 p.m. We have Tyra Madison, local girl from Knott County, who's going to be opening the show, followed by Clint Black afterwards. It's going to be a good night. We'd love to see everybody there.
Combs says tickets range from $40 to $65. The concert will take place where the Knott Central basketball floor was replaced after the flood in 2022. The search for the Big Blue coach has come to an end. Mark Pope, as we told you at the top of the 4 o'clock newscast, is now officially the 23rd head coach of the UK men's basketball program. We traveled around the mountains today to find out what people think about this hire. Leslie County boys basketball head coach John Noble had this to say.
I think, you're supposed to see improvement. You don't know what it's going to look like right now. You don't know who's staying. You don't know who's coming in. You don't know who he's bringing with him, if anybody. I think for any team at any level, your goal is to obviously be better in March than you were in November. And at UK, generally, if you are better in March than you are in November, you're going to do pretty well.
Coming up at 6, we'll break down how Mark Pope's experience recruiting could make a big impact in future Wildcats. Kentucky lawmakers returned to the state capitol today for the final 2 days of this year's session. The House got to work quickly in overriding vetoes. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what's happened so far.
The last 2 days of a legislative session are usually spent on trying to get some of those last-minute bills through and to override gubernatorial vetoes. And in the House, state budget, a bill dealing with monuments in the state capitol rotunda, and who can appoint a U.S. senator if one vacates office early, taking precedence in their early actions on Friday.
20 bills vetoed by the governor were on the agenda Friday. The House voted to override part of the executive branch budget bill that Beshear said would place limits on natural disaster response.
That we are willing to cover $25 million. And to me, thinking about our constituents, our neighbors in need, it's not enough to say we'll come back and have a special session.
Among the other vetoes overridden, House Bill 7 that would place regulation and set up a process to allow for self-driving vehicles. The override did not follow party lines, but it still passed 58-40. And legislators also overrode House Bill 5, the Safer Kentucky Act. The governor vetoed it partly because of language dealing with homelessness and incarceration costs.
But I believe the danger in this piece of legislation is because we do not know how much it is going to cost us.
And Kentucky lawmakers will come back to Frankfort and work likely all day Monday up until midnight, hoping to get some of these last-minute high-profile bills across the finish line. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Anything passed by the General Assembly these last 2 days and then vetoed by the governor later would not have a chance to be revived by overrides. The CAR Act, a bill that would temporarily remove firearms from gun owners if the owners are experiencing a mental health crisis, did not make it through the session. But those who support the bill refused to give up hope. They gathered in Frankfort today, determined to spread the message that though the bill may have been passed over this year, they will not stop fighting.
I am devastated that we went another session without passing CAR, because we know that every day in this Commonwealth, 2 people die of gun violence.
Supporters believe their message needs to be heard and the bill is important for the safety of all Kentuckians. A developing story we've been following this afternoon in Texas, where a semi-truck has crashed into a Texas Department of Public Safety office. This is happening in Brenham, a rural town about an hour northwest of Houston. DPS officials say at least 16 people were hurt. Several are in critical condition. Authorities say the vehicle was stolen and believe the crash was intentional. The driver, who refused treatment at the scene, was taken into custody and may face charges. The Biden administration is forgiving another round of student loan debt to the tune of $7.4 billion. The move will impact some 277,000 borrowers. It's part of a program enacted by the White House to make it easier for some specific groups of borrowers, like public sector workers, to qualify for loan forgiveness. The program also includes a repayment plan that creates a shorter pathway to loan forgiveness for many low-income borrowers.
My administration will propose a new rule to cancel up to $20,000 in runaway interest for any borrower that owes more now than when they started paying the loan.
The White House says if all goes as planned, canceling accrued interest for qualified borrowers could begin as early as this fall, right around election time. A student was shot at a high school in Dallas, Texas this morning. Police responded to Wilmer Hutchins High School in southeast Dallas on an active shooter call. They took one person into custody. Officials say there's no longer an active threat on campus. Right now, it's not known who was taken into custody or the condition of the student who was shot. Some teachers say they are not prepared to deal with an active shooter on campus, and 1 in 4 say they've experienced a gun-related lockdown in the last year alone. That's according to a new report from the Pew Research Center. Researchers reached out to more than 2,500 kindergarten to 12th grade teachers. More than half of teachers said they were at least somewhat worried about the possibility of a shooting ever happening at their school. The CDC says it's found no link between COVID vaccines and cardiac deaths among young people. Nearly 1,300 death certificates from people 16 to 30 years old were reviewed. Out of 101 death certificates where a cardiac event was not ruled out as a cause of death, 40 people received a COVID vaccine. Only 3 of those people died within 100 days of vaccination. Coming up on First at 4, it's a way for you to learn more about your four-legged friend. But what exactly will a dog DNA test tell you? And are they reliable?
Plus, we stay soggy and breezy through this evening, but the sunshine is not far away. Your weekend forecast coming up.